lá para a nossa aula de telegrafia. Hoje, 2 novos caracteres. Com a gente, segundas, quartas e sextas. Vai abrindo o caderno, vai pegando a caneta. Nossos amigos deficientes visuais também vão visualizando, ok? Mentalmente. Hoje os caracteres serão os seguintes. Letras I de Índia. Esse som aqui, ó. E letra M de Mike, ok? M de Mike. Esta letra aqui, ó. Ok? Vamos começar com a letra I. Vai anotando aí a letra I. Letra I, código fonético internacional Índia, ok? A letra I é formada por 2 sons curtos. Então, esses 2 sons aqui, ó. 2 sons curtos, 2 sons breves. Você pode também vocalizar dessa forma. De. Ok? Na outra aula sobre sons eu falei da vocalização. E a gente vai vocalizar também esses caracteres. Tranquilo? Então, vou fazer o seguinte. Eu vou te passar várias vezes a letra I. E você vai anotando, tá bom? Então, letra I de Índia. Vamos lá, anotando. Bom, tranquilo. Você anotou aí várias vezes a letra I de Índia. Você visualizou mentalmente. Os amigos são deficientes visuais. Visualizando aí o caractere. Tranquilo, né? Ok. Pulo uma linha, vamos para o próximo caractere. Nossa próxima letra hoje é o M de Mike. Letra M de Mike, é formada por 2 sons longos. 2 sons longos, dessa forma aqui, ó. Vocalizando. Ó. Sons se prolongam, ok? Então, novamente. Tranquilo? Eu vou manipular várias vezes a letra M. Você vai anotando, você vai visualizando, ok? Então, vamos lá. Tranquilo, né? Você anotou aí várias vezes a letra M de Mike. Você visualizou a letra M. Tranquilo, né? Pula uma linha. Próximo exercício. Agora intercalando os 2 caracteres, ok? Vou estar te passando I de Índia, M de Mike. Então, Índia, Mike. Intercalando aí várias vezes. Tranquilo? Então, vamos lá. Começando. Bom, tranquilo. Você anotou aí várias vezes. Índia, Mike, sem problemas, né? Ok. Agora, próximo exercício serão grupos de caracteres, ok? Grupos com 3 letras, tá bom? Nessa primeira abordagem, só as letras de hoje, ok? Depois vai entrar no próximo treino as letras de hoje e as letras da aula passada, tá bom? Então, Índia, Mike, são as letras de hoje e Eco, Tango da aula passada, tranquilo? Então, por enquanto, só grupos de caracteres com Índia, Mike, tranquilo? Fica mais fácil. Vou te passar 4 grupos, cada grupo 3 caracteres. Presta atenção que agora vai entrar o espaço, ok? As pausas, então, pausas menores entre caracteres, vai ter uma pausa maior e outro grupo, mais 3 caracteres, depois outra pausa maior, mais 3 caracteres, depois mais outra pausa e mais 3 caracteres, ok? Então, vamos lá, começando. Então, corrigindo, ficou o seguinte, eu vou falando aqui o caractere e vou manipulando juntamente, ok? Outra coisa, na correção, eu dou uma acelerada, ok? Fica esperto aí. Vamos lá, começando. Então, ficou o seguinte. Índia, Mike, Índia. Próximo, Mike, Índia, Mike. Próximo, Índia, Índia, Mike. Próximo, Mike, Mike, Índia. Acertou tudo aí? Tranquilo? Maravilha. Bom, a gente vai dar um intervalo e já retornando na segunda parte, ok? Hoje a aula de telegrafia é um pouco maior. Como temos aí já 4 caracteres, então vou dar alguns minutinhos e já retornando na segunda parte da aula, ok?
That's your modulation control. And if you go up from VR 14 towards the middle of the radio, and this is VR4 and VR5, those are your ALC adjustments. VR4 is a single tone, VR5 is your 2-tone. If you don't have a generator or understand what that means, then you probably shouldn't mess with them. The radio itself, operation-wise, it's kind of fun with the functions. Again, the sliders, I'm not real big on those because they do end up getting a little bit of buildup and having some problems. Receive is okay on the radio. Nothing special, but it's all right. The transmit is subpar on this particular model. The modulation just was never great on these. There's been a couple people who've written on the topic. I know Woody had Woody's Gazette or whatever had a good little write-up on it, but yeah, just not a whole lot of swing on these. You can clip the limiters and stuff, but that's not necessarily a good idea either. They just are not modulation monsters. Not going to get a whole lot of swing on AM or sideband. You can use a power mic and you probably sound decent. Again, they're just not going to be up to the standard of some of the more classic popular radios or even some of the newer radios. Not something I necessarily hold on to as a classic. Again, this is the realistic TRC 459. And for those of you who want to bug out, go for it. The rest of you can stick around and see all the annoying screws on this thing. And I'll just show you how I put it together and took it apart. Okay, so when we took this thing apart, you have to make sure, and you lift the cover off, you take off the external speaker plug, and the connection for that is right here over by the power supply. You also want to make sure to be careful of your cables here going up to your keypad and down into your board there when you remove it. So first thing is we're going to hook up our external speaker, put our cover back on. You can see that there's these posts here. These go through to some center screws, and I'll show you how that works as I put it back together. All right, so looking underneath the radio, you'll see there's two posts where they come up into these middle screws. So you have to put in these two screws. So when you're taking off the cover, to get that top cover off, there's the two middle screws here. There's also 4 screws, 2 on either side, that you'll need to undo. And let me show you. Those screws on the side, there'll be 1 here, 1 on here, and then 2 on the other side. So once you get your 2 screws in the center on for the top cover and the 2 screws on either side, then you've got a bunch of these screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to put the bottom cover back on the radio. And we got everything back together. The last thing you have to do is you have to stick these pieces back onto your sliders. And that's it, folks. Hope you enjoyed seeing this old radio. Kind of interesting, like I said. Not necessarily a fabulous performer, but it does okay. Definitely has some interesting features, though. So TRC 459. Thanks for watching, guys.
Radio 161, great to talk up there, man.
Hi, this is your about.
Yeah, man, J. Juliet Alpha Yankee was my name for your further.
Hi, this is CBRadioMagazine.com. And since there haven't been a whole lot of new radios on the market, we decided to go back in time today, and we're going to take a look at the Midland 79-290 transceiver. This is a single sideband radio. These are produced in the mid to late 90s, and they stopped production in the early 2000s. So it hasn't been made for about 10, 11 years now, and these radios were quite interesting when they came out. They were Midland's last single sideband radio they produced. They were about 2 inches tall, so they could be mounted directly in your dash. Very few radios can do that, even today. It had a detachable face on it. The radio had memory frequencies, digital display, dual watch, scan, and it also could be converted for your free band frequencies, and it can go up into the ham radio frequencies, even though at the time it was marketed as a standard CB radio. Did have quite a lot of features in it. So very interesting radio. I'll walk you through the controls real quick and show you some of the features. We'll discuss how to do the modification to open it up for the extra frequencies, show you inside some of the quick tuning locations, and probably it'll give you a good understanding of the radio. And we should have an on-the-air audio test. Just check back with somebody else on the air and see what they think of the sound. So first of all, over on the left-hand side here, we've got the volume. This is it's kind of not an inner and outer knobs. There's one that's further away and one that's closer to the radio. So
próximo grupo, também, né? Serão grupos com 4 caracteres, porém, agora já vão entrar os caracteres da aula passada, ok? Que é o eco e o tango. Você lembra, né? O eco, um som curto, e o tango, um som longo, ok? Já vão ter aí 4 caracteres, hein? Tranquilo? Então, vamos lá, começando. corrigindo, ficou o seguinte. Vamos lá. Índia, Mike, Índia, Mike. Próximo, Mike, Índia, Mike, Índia. Próximo, Eco, Tango, Eco, Tango. Próximo, Tango, Eco, Tango, Eco. Próximo, Mike, Eco, Mike, Eco. E o último, Tango, Eco, Mike, Eco. Tranquilo? Agora começa a dificultar, né? Você viu que já entraram os 4 caracteres, 2 de hoje e os 2 da aula passada, tranquilo? E para finalizar, mais um treino, ok? Serão grupos com 4 caracteres, mesmo esquema. Tá? Com os 2 caracteres que aprendemos hoje e os 2 da aula passada, tranquilo? Então vamos lá, começando. Então, corrigindo, ficou o seguinte. Preste atenção que na correção de uma acelerada, ok? Então, vamos lá. Tango, Eco, Mike, Índia. Próximo, Mike, Eco, Tango, Eco. Próximo, Mike, Eco, Tango, Índia. Próximo, Eco, Índia, Eco, Índia. Próximo, Índia, Eco, Índia, Eco. E o último, Tango, Índia, Tango, Eco. Tranquilo? Quem teve alguma dificuldade, tá ali meio enroscado, pega a revisão, ok? Essa lição vou deixar na internet, ok? Eu estou liberando logo mais aí no nosso canal, ok? Você pega no YouTube e faz uma revisão, tranquilo? Ouve aí o treino, né, o ditado, esses grupos de caracteres mais uma, 2 vezes e vai treinando. E você já sabendo a sequência, sempre é treino, né? Sempre é interessante, ok? Repassa aí a lição e boa sorte. Outra dica, então você já pode ir manipulando, porém, só que eu te passei, ok? Só essas letras aqui, ó. Eco, Tango, Índia, Mike. bom? Vai treinando esses caracteres, vai manipulando, vai treinando aí a sua audição, né? Refaz aí o treino e boa sorte. Para quem não consegue chegar cedo aí para as aulas, pega as gravações, ok? Eu deixo aí cada aula uma gravação para os amigos. E tem a identificação, CW aula 1, CW aula 2, CW aula 3, entre parênteses tem os caracteres, ok? Hoje, por exemplo, CW aula 3, tá ali entre parênteses a letra I de Índia e a letra M de Mike, tranquilo? E todas as aulas serão assim, CW aula tanto, tais caracteres, CW aula 20, 30, 40, 50, enfim. Tudo em ordem cronológica, identificando cada grupo de caracteres. E você faz essa mesmíssima aula pela internet. Em qualquer lugar do planeta você tem esse material no YouTube, ok? Boa sorte e vamos em frente.
Agora são 5 horas e 23 minutos. E a gente cumprimenta o amigo Tadeu, grande abraço. Tá bom, amigo Cláudio, também grande abraço. O Rafael, que está com a gente, grande abraço, tá bom, Rafael? Tudo de bom. E demais amigos aí na internet, demais amigos via radiofrequência, todos um excelente dia. Bom, abrindo espaço com bom dia.
It will only show the memory frequencies. So that's the last option. 919 and norm button shows channel 9, channel 19, and back to norm. That's a quick access option. A&L, noise blank, and both of them. So you can select one, the other, or both. In lower sideband, upper sideband mode, only the noise blank comes on. So don't know exactly how that is working out, but that's does that as we've gone through. Talkback. Talkback is on. When you key up, you can adjust the talkback. So, oops, there we go. There we go. We key up. We can turn our talkback on. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Audio test. This is upper sideband talkback. So you can see the talkback is quite loud. That's with the power microphone. The talkback is adjustable and goes up to 15. So once again, you push the button, you key up, and while you're holding the key, you can adjust the level of the talkback. Talkback works on AM and single sideband, and it sounds great. It's not some cheap talkback that's just piped through the audio section. It actually is very clear and sounds really good. So I like the talkback feature so far. Once again, very loud with the power microphone and also with the mic gain up. RF gain has a local and DX option. The microphone gain works the same as the talkback. You key up and you can adjust it between 1 and 4. The weather frequencies, you can turn those on. You can have it in a scan option, or you can just flip through them.
Issued at 4 p.m. Tuesday, June 19th, for tonight, Wednesday, and Wednesday night.
And it shows the frequency here. As far as the weather frequencies go, first of all, I wasn't real impressed with the receive on them. It didn't pick them up very sensitive relative to other weather stations I've received on other weather radios, other CBs that had weather capability. So it didn't receive it particularly well for the weather stations. I don't know exactly why that was. Second thing was, inside the radio, the squelch on the weather frequencies was actually turned up so high that I couldn't hear anything on any of them. So I actually went inside and adjusted it, and then I could hear them all. But none of them were breaking the squelch from the factory. So not super impressed with the weather function, though. It does receive fine. I did finally get one here. Normally I can receive 2 of them, but it doesn't have a real strong receive on the weather frequency. Might just be the way this was adjusted at the factory. We'll have to play with that a bit more. So we've gone through these and these buttons here. We've gone through the controls. Let's talk about your microphone jack. And we've got a microphone plug in there right now. Pull that out so you can have a look. All right, so as you can see, we've got a 6-pin microphone jack. And from the factory, they do, oops, sorry, hasty camera work tonight. They do include a special adapter. The adapter is a 6-pin to a 4-pin. They know that the majority of people are running 4-pin microphones out there, power microphones, aftermarket microphones. The radio does come with its own stock 6-pin microphone that fits the radio, but they do include the adapter because they know a lot of people are into the aftermarket stuff. The extension piece works absolutely perfectly, no problem. I hooked it up to my Turner Plus 3 that's wired to 4-pin. Also hooked it up to a stock SRA 158, no problem. And they have talked about a Bluetooth wireless microphone being available for this radio. I assume you'd plug in a little plug here, and then something would wirelessly connect from the microphone to the radio. So we'll have to see how that works when that comes out. So that's how that works. And the stock microphone, I'll show you that in the video as well here when we get a chance. And once again, you just take your 4-pin section and connect it up with your radio, or sorry, your microphone that you're using. It's a 4-pin microphone. All right, get back to business here. Let's go into the function menu and show you how that works. To enter into the function menu, you'll press down on the channel selector, and it gives you the menu options here. The first thing is to go through day-night. You can select the color, you can select the contrast, the brightness, the weather scan option. You can turn that on or off. You can do the diagnostic features, and then you can exit. So first thing, we'll go into the day and the night, and you can choose the option for which one of those. You can set up each one separately. So we can go into our colors. You can pick your day color. So the whole thing is you can set up your day and night separately. So these are our 7 colors. So blue, green, light blue, red, purple, another type of green, and kind of a bright white blue.
Só uma informação para os amigos. Hoje a gente está vendo aqui alguns rádios para a faixa de 11 metros, ok? Hoje é o dia do PX, tá bom? Então quem está com a gente aí na rodada alto-falante, na live, tá vendo só rádios aí dos 11 metros, ok? Quem curte como a gente, né? A gente começou aí nos 11 metros, com 15 anos, ok? A gente não esquece aí o nosso início, né? Então, início nos 11 metros. Sempre a gente vai gostar aí da faixa, ok? A gente começou com Realistic, tá? E agora um rádio da Unidin. Bem legal, bem moderno. Aquele Realistic, primeirão era da década de 70, ok? Esse já é mais moderninho, esse já deve ter uns 7 anos, tá bom? 5 anos, não é tão velho assim. Acredito eu, né? Acredito eu que já tem uns 5, 6 anos, tá bom? Mas só 11 metros hoje, hein? Hoje, quem ficar aí na live, somente rádios de 11 metros. Para quem curte, show de bola, né? Bom, tá, bom dia pro Cláudio, tá aí com o Tadeu, né? Grande abraço, hein, Cláudio? Tudo de bom e um ótimo dia, ok? Para quem não sabe, o Tadeu e o Cláudio já estão saindo do batente, né? Enquanto nós estamos iniciando o dia, eles estão finalizando, né, Cláudio? É mais uma jornada finalizada, é ou não é? Então tá aí. Bom, se o Cláudio for falar alguma coisa, espaço aí pro amigo, tá bom? São 5 horas 31 minutos e oportunidade com um bom dia.
Scan memory, weather alert, weather's over here, alerts here, calibration will show up, transmit, receive, local and DX, and PA option. Those are all of your display options that'll show up here on the menu, on the display. So your bar graph, segmented, so they all work individually, which is nice. So you have a nice segmented menu for your receive. The radio itself is very small. We'll show you that. It's not a full-size radio like we've had in the past. It is smaller. Should fit into installs a lot nicer. You have your front-facing microphone, of course, so it should be a little bit easier. You don't need as much space. It's not coming out the side. I am going to show you the inside of the radio, and then I'll talk a little bit about the performance we've seen so far in the output. So this is the inside of the radio. I'm going to try and show you guys some of the adjustment points. It might get a little blurry just because it's hard for the camera to zoom in on these tiny little points inside the radio. Surface mount technology, not a whole lot of wires running around like the old radios. Once again, just ribbon cables connecting the face to the board, and that's about it. The pots on the radio, they are here, and you can see some along here. You can see some here. They are quite small. And adjustment-wise, they work a little bit differently than some of the other ones that you're used to. In the back here, single final. See the coils and your power input here on this side. So let me show you the tuning points. They are labeled on the board, which is nice. ALC is going to be right back here. It's going to be for single sideband. And when you adjust these types of pots that are on these radios, when you turn them, it's not like the old style where you turn them and they hit a stopping point. These ones can go all the way around, so you can turn it to max, and if you just keep turning, it goes right back down to the lowest value again. So you have to be careful when adjusting them. That's your ALC over there. AM power output, set your dead key, is going to be over here. I believe that's RT206, a little hard to see here. So AM power is over here. AMC, there's going to be 5 pots here and then a 6th one over, and that is your AMC modulation control. And with this radio, you can pretty much turn everything up and not have a huge amount of problems. Dead key from the factory was a 4-watt dead key. I did adjust it down a little bit just to see, so you can adjust it down with the pot down to 1 watt to run your amp or whatever you want to do. And swing is not huge on AM. Even with the desk microphones, power microphones, not a huge amount of swing. Seen about 8 to 10 watts on AM swing so far. With single sideband with adjustment to the ALC, we are peaking at about 15. Your average talking is going to be about 10 to 12. So not a huge amount of wattage output. It's not, going to be quite as much as something like you'd see on a 959 with just a little bit of tuning. May have to mess around a little bit more with these to get a little bit more out. But so far, reports. I did get some excellent reports back on sideband once I made some adjustments to the ALC. Got the radio swinging a little bit. Out of the box, even before I made adjustments with just the desk mic, I made a 40-mile contact with just a barefoot radio. So actually sounded pretty good on that. And yeah, so far with the desk mic, the microphone gain turned up, ALC adjusted up. I've been told it has super nice punchy audio. So very good to hear that so far on single sideband reports are very good. Impressive on the audio. So we'll have to do some more testing to see what we think. We'll try and get some recordings on the air so you guys can hear it as well. Okay, back of the radio, made in China, antenna jack, PA speaker jack, external speaker jack, and 3-pin standard power cord. Very simple, not a whole lot going on. Everything you need there. Nice to see the same 3-pin power jack. Nice to have that standard. External speaker, PA jack, everything you guys are used to. So nothing too exciting on the back of the radio. All right, this is the standard microphone that's coming with the radio. It's got kind of the transformer look going on there. All you guys that are old Optimus Prime fans will know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so that's the microphone that goes along with the radio. And the size of the radio. Radio from the back connector to the front knobs is about 9 inches from the antenna connector to the knobs, 8.5 without the antenna connector. It's about a 7 1/4 inches wide and 2 1/4 inches tall on the side. So case screws, if you guys need to take the case off, screw here on the cover, screw on the back, and 2 on each side. So you got 6 screws altogether to remove. My first impressions on the radio, very easy to use. The radio overall, it reminds me actually of some of the old radios, even though it does have the menu function on it. It's not quite as complicated as some of the other newer radios. They have the programming and more features and everything else. It's simple, on, off, squelch, channel changing, clarifier, even the buttons to, they're taking you into a menu mode, with the mic gain and the talkback and things like that. Still very simple to figure out. Everything else here is just pressing buttons, and the menu is really only for changing the colors and a couple of the weather option. And if you want to do your diagnostics. So there isn't a whole lot of stuff to do in the menu. Once again, you can change your colors on this radio and, pick any choice that you're looking for. So definitely cool for that. It affects the full display. I like the fact that all the colors and stuff are matching. Again, all the lights light up and all the controls, so you can see everything here. You can see all the buttons light up, so it's really nice to see that. The radio itself, again, easy to use, very functional. Receive is actually pretty quiet so far on single sideband. I haven't put this in a mobile yet, but the receive has been fairly quiet, actually quieter than some of the other exports we've recently tested. The receive quality is very, very good, very stable on frequency. Haven't even had to touch the clarifier yet with anybody. The noise in terms of listening on single sideband, I haven't done a whole lot of AM yet, so I'm not sure exactly there, but single sideband, everybody I've listened to, it's been coming in real well, so very easy to hear people, very clear, so everybody sounds very natural. The channel rejection, I did test it out. I went down to the store in town, so as on my way back, I tried keying up about a mile away on a couple of different frequencies right near, and channel rejection seems pretty good as well.
Vamos para a resolução 449/2006. Aqui, ó, capítulo da permissão internacional de radioamadorismo. Vamos lá para o artigo 15. São 5 artigos, tá bom? Somente 5 artigos, que, resumidamente, quer dizer o seguinte, né, o documento hábil, quando você sair do Brasil, tem que levar, ok? Você vai passar na Anatel, vai fazer o requerimento, paga uma taxa lá no banco e coisa de 30 e poucos reais, né? O valor é X, e a Anatel te libera esse documento, tá bom? Esse documento vai constar que você é do Brasil, né, radioamador classe A, B ou C, e totalmente aí legalizado, inscrito lá na Anatel, tem o COER, a licença, enfim, né, dando o seu indicativo aqui no Brasil. Chegou lá no outro país, você entrega no departamento de radioamadorismo ou setor de telecomunicações daquele país, né, responsável pelo assunto radioamadorismo, e você pode, aí sim, né, pode falar naquele país, ok? Comprar um rádio, uma antena e fazer lá seus contatos, tá bom? Se você não fizer isso, o risco é grande de você responder um processo crime. Tá? Como no Brasil é crime usar radiofrequência sem autorização, tá? Em outros países não é diferente. Tá? Principalmente nos Estados Unidos, né? O pessoal chega lá nos Estados Unidos, né, comprando rádio, antena, já sai falando, né, com o indicativo do Brasil, tá certo? Errado. Ou, né, algum americano, algum europeu ou japonês chega no Brasil, né, pode falando com o seu indicativo lá do seu país? Não, também não pode. Né, precisa ter uma autorização da Anatel, ok? Está em outro território, está em outro país, tá? Não é chegar e sair tagarelando que não vai dar certo, ok? Então, os radioamadores vão te cumprimentar, tudo, né? Vão ser amigáveis, mas o risco é de você ter problemas, ok? Ter dor de cabeça, como alguns brasileiros já tiveram nos Estados Unidos. Muito comum, né? O pessoal pensa que é chegar, comprar rádio, antena, e sair falando, e vai para a delegacia, né? Vai para o distrito, já tem audiência, já sai a pena, não é brincadeira, hein? Bom, então vamos lá. O artigo 15 fala o seguinte: a Anatel expedirá licença para operação temporária de estações de radioamadores nos Estados-membros da Comissão Interamericana de Telecomunicações, CITEL, signatários da Convenção Internacional sobre a Permissão Internacional de Radioamador. Então, essa permissão foi em 1995, ok? E todos esses países signatários Hoje nós temos aí membros da UIT, União Internacional de Telecomunicações, aproximadamente uns 200 países, ok? Então, hoje são 200 países que assinaram um acordo e mantêm, né, esse respeito aos segmentos, né? E no departamento de radioamadorismo, né, você também tem esse acordo, tá bom? Então, todos aí conversam, falam a mesma língua nesse sentido.
Bom, a gente vai dar intervalo e já retornando, ok? Hoje é um assunto bem interessante. Permissão internacional de radioamadorismo. Tá? Isso funciona em todo o planeta, ok? Quando você sai do Brasil, isso você pega até pela internet, tá? Online, e paga lá uma taxa pequena, esse documento é liberado, você imprime e leva. Tá? Vai para o Japão, vai para a Europa, vai para os Estados Unidos, tá? Pega esse documento na Anatel, ok? Quem tiver interesse, artigos 15 a 19, tá bom? Anota aí. Artigos 15 a 19, resolução 449/2006. Então, você pega isso no Google, ok? Entra no Google, põe essa resolução, escreve Anatel na frente e a busca vai ser rapidinho aí, ok? Permissão internacional. Ninguém sabia que existia, né? Então, existe, hein? E quem vem para o Brasil, né, pega no seu país, ok? Se vem no Japão, qualquer país da Europa, Estados Unidos, América Latina, continente africano, não importa, ok? Chega no Brasil, entrega esse documento na Anatel. E a gente também, né? Chega nos Estados Unidos, países da Europa, Japão, do continente africano, América Latina, a mesma coisa, tá bom? Por quê? Porque você pode usar o rádio nesse país, ok? Do contrário, você vai ter problemas. Tá? Você é considerado clandestino, tá bom? Mesmo sendo radioamador no Brasil, ok? Cada país tem as suas leis, então você tem que ter essa preocupação, hein? Não sai do Brasil sem levar essa permissão internacional, tá bom? É lei, né? Isso é uma lei federal, para quem não sabe, tranquilo? Bom, intervalo aí para os amigos, já retornando.
With them. So this is the inside of the 955 HP. There's another video online by another gentleman who's done a very good job showing all the shielding and sections and everything, so it won't take a huge amount of time. Surface mount technology inside SMT. You'll see the shielding on important areas in the radio, shielding on the transistor section back here. Got some nice heavy-duty coil section back here. The adjustment points are labeled, and they're not super tiny like you see on a lot of radios that are using the SMT stuff. So nice to see larger pots, makes it a little bit easier. They are all labeled. So you got your high power adjustment, single sideband, FM, AM modulation, meter adjustments, things like that. So everything's easily labeled and adjustable, easy to see. And as we showed before, for conversion, you do have to remove a small resistor off of the board, which is very tiny. So a little difficult to do on that one. But yeah, very clean layout with the surface mount technology these days. You get your wire bundle coming off from the face, going to the board, and one or two other wires, and that's it. So it's, so much cleaner than a lot of the older radios. Parts are smaller, less likely to get bumped around or broken. So the radios should be more durable, should last longer with less problems. Just a little bit hard to work on if you have smaller components that need to be replaced. You have to have a very fine tip soldering iron. And on this radio, they did do the larger pots, which is nice to see. So it's a little bit easier for tuning. You don't have those tiny little pots. So that's the inside of the 955 HP. Okay, one of the first things I'll show you about this radio, we'll talk about the backlighting, the display, and the coloring. The radio does have lighting that shows through the face, around the bezel. All of the typeface is lit up. You have LCD screens here and over here that light up. The lighting is adjustable for a color. So there's a color button over here on the side. You can scroll through different colors. And there is even a loop option. The loop option will actually scroll through the colors on its own. You can set the delay like every 5 seconds or every 10 seconds, it'll change colors and do it automatically, kind of a Christmas tree effect, if that's your thing. Not necessarily mine, but definitely lots of options for coloring on the face. Nice thing about that is you can match it up to whatever the vehicle interior lighting is on your dash. So if you have blue lights in your vehicle, then you could set this to blue or green or whatever. So nice that you can kind of coordinate it that way. You can pick whatever color you think is going to work best for you. The lighting, some of the initial people have seen the lighting on this thing and said, well, it's too bright. It, super luminescent. Well, there's a dimming option on this, and you can actually dim it all the way off if you want. You can have it on a scale of 1 all the way up to a scale of 31. So you can see at 31, the radio is quite bright. I'll actually turn off the lights to show you the effect here. And some people have said this is a little bit too much bling bling for them in their vehicle to have it this bright. And once again, you can adjust the dimming level and set it at something suitable for whatever you're doing. So if you wanted it at level 1, you could set it there. Or if you want to crank it up, you can go bright. So that's the dimming option and the coloring. And as you can see, it's nice all the stuff lights up here on the display. You can see all the type real easily. Nice thing about this radio and the lighting, it's consistent. The color is the same all the way across the face of the radio. Some radios we've seen, the actual channel display was a different color than the backlighting, or the frequency display was different color than the backlighting, or the meter, or whatever. So it's nice to see a radio that has the consistent lighting all the way through it. It's very bright, so during the day it'll light up enough, and at night when you're driving you can dim it if you want, so it's not too obnoxious. Starting on the left side of the radio, I'm going through the features here. You see there's a function button that will take you into your function menu, and we will go through that in detail, showing the different features. There's a scan button. Pressing this, it will scan through the band that you're in, so it'll scan through all the different channels, and you have your squelch turned up, and if a signal breaks the squelch, it will stop on that frequency. There's your color changing button, of course, the one that we use to go through and cycle through all the colors. Now, the meter is something new looking. It's a digital type meter. It has your signal strength coming in here, shows your power output level here, 10 watts, 20 watts, 40 watts, 60, 80, 100. And it shows your SWR here. So you don't have to calibrate for SWR. It has an auto calibrating feature, and it will show your SWR as you have your power output. So that's a nice feature. You can actually see what your power is and what your SWR is simultaneously. Down here, there's an option. You can show the name of the radio. You can show the voltage that the radio is at, or you can have it rotate back and forth between the voltage and the radio name. So it's nice that this radio will show you what your voltage is to make sure that your radio is getting enough voltage and it's in the normal range. It'll show your SWR, your power output, and your signal strength, and it's all visible on one meter. Okay, moving over just a little bit. Up here, we've got your variable power and your talkback. The MON stands for monitor. That's on the inside. You can turn your talkback off completely, or if you want talkback, you can turn it on, and it's totally variable. I found the level to be quite nice, so nice variable adjustment for talkback. Power control is on the outside. Variable power works in all modes. You can adjust your output all the way down to 1.5 watt or so on AM, up to about a 15 watt dead key on AM. Your mode switch is here, PA, FM, AM, upper sideband and lower sideband.
Então, aqui, ó, na primeira parte do artigo 15, é onde você vai pegar essa autorização, ok? Não é na padaria, nem na borracharia, tá bom? Aqui, ó, na Anatel. A Anatel expedirá licença para operação temporária de estação de rádio amador nos Estados-membros da Comissão Interamericana de Telecomunicações, CITEL. Então, passa na Anatel, você vai para algum país, da Europa, Estados Unidos, Japão, leva esse documento, é bom. Então, não sai sem essa permissão, porque você é radioamador. Né? Vai querer comprar um radinho, vai querer falar, né? Então, já pede isso uns 2 meses antes da sua viagem, é interessante, tá? Não vai deixar para a última semana que não dá tempo, ok? Mas pede, né? Uns 2 meses antes, o Anatel deve liberar aí, no prazo de uma semana, deve estar liberado esse documento, ok? Você pagou no Banco do Brasil, eles conferem, né? Deu a entrada da taxa que eles cobram. Eu falei, deve ser uns R$30, 30 e poucos reais, não muito mais do que isso. E você recebe esse documento, ok? Leva e é mais garantido. Bom, o artigo 16 fala o seguinte: qualquer radioamador devidamente autorizado para executar o serviço no Brasil deverá solicitar a permissão internacional de radioamador, IARP, India Alpha Romeo Papa, que significa Permissão Internacional de Radioamadorismo, né? Excetuando-se os radioamadores estrangeiros, sim. Esse documento aqui é só para brasileiros, ok? Então, só para nós brasileiros, né, saindo do Brasil, leva o documento. Para os radioamadores estrangeiros é o contrário, né? Chegou alguém dos Estados Unidos, da Europa, Japão, Austrália, né, o país da América Latina, eles trazem esse documento do país de origem, ok? E trazendo, eles vão na Anatel, tá bom? Também não vai na padaria, nem na borracharia, é Anatel. Entrego e a Anatel, né, vai dar para esse radioamador estrangeiro uma autorização. Ele fala no Brasil, sem problemas, ok? Então, esse tratado de reciprocidade entre os 200 países que são signatários desse acordo internacional trocam essa gentileza, né? Para nós, radioamadores, né, a coisa funciona dessa forma, né? Bem tranquilo, não tem problemas, não tem dor de cabeça. É só pedir na Anatel que eles te entregam esse documento. Presta atenção, está dizendo aqui no artigo 16 o seguinte, ó: qualquer radioamador. Então, se fala qualquer radioamador devidamente autorizado, né, se você é radioamador classe A, classe B ou classe C, pode, ok? Não é nenhum privilégio dos radioamadores classe A ou B. Então, todos os radioamadores classe Alfa, Bravo ou Charlie.
A gente vai dar mais um intervalo e já retornando, ok? Hoje, analisando resolução 449/2006, artigos 15 a 19. Tá? Muita gente não sabe que tem esse direito, ok? Então, todos os radioamadores, classes Alpha, Bravo e Charlie, têm esse direito, tranquilo? Hoje, tudo via internet, ok? Tudo você pede online, tranquilo? Provavelmente você paga lá um boleto, né, um valor lá de R$30, mais ou menos, né? Talvez nem isso, até menos. E a Anatel libera esse documento, ok? Tranquilo? Então, anota aí. Resolução 449/2006. Tá? Provavelmente esse requerimento você faz aí via online no site da Anatel, ok? Esses artigos tratam da permissão internacional de radiocomunicação, só para nós, radioamadores. Tá? Não serve para mais ninguém, ok? Exclusivamente radioamadorismo. Bom, pequeno intervalo e já retornando.
Echo, and now you've lost your positioning. With this radio, you can set your echo wherever you want it, and you can turn it on or off using this switch over here, and that way you never have to touch your adjustments. So a lot of guys who do like echo are really picky about it. They like to set it exactly where they want it, and they get pissed off that they have to keep messing with it when they switch back and forth. You set it where you want it, then you can just turn the echo on or off with the switch. Some of you guys hate echo, you don't like them, whatever, that's fine. But for those guys who do like echo, you will appreciate that you can turn it on and off here without messing with your adjustment settings. Once again, the switch over here, so this one, it's in the middle position, it's not doing anything. If you move it to the right, it's the echo position. The TSQ position isn't actually used for the radio normally. It's a switch to activate an optional CTCSS module, which is not in the radio. That's something optional. It's not included with this, so it's probably something most of you will not be using, but that's what that TSQ would do. Just below here, we've got our fine and coarse clarifiers. These are going to work a little bit different than you're used to on a lot of exports. The fine clarifier is on the inside, coarse clarifiers on the outside. The fine clarifier can be set up to only adjust receive, transmit, or receive and transmit. So you can set it up, that option, to do it in those different types of modes. The coarse clarifier is on the outside, and it is going to adjust your frequency, your receive and transmit frequency. The interesting thing about this radio is in the menu, you can adjust how the tuning stages of the fine clarifier work, and you can adjust the tuning stages of the coarse clarifier. We'll show you all of that when we get into the menu functions, but it's neat to be able to adjust how these work and what the increments of tuning that they're going to be adjusting. Up here is our frequency display. It'll show TX for transmit, RX here. It'll show the clarifier mode for the fine clarifier here. You can see that right now it's in receive mode. And once again, if you change this to do receive and transmit, it will show you here that it's tracking on both. Shows you your channel option here, and it also shows you your frequency. Over here is your channel selector. The radio does have the band option and the VFO option. So let's go into that first. So let's discuss the band VFO switch and how this works. This radio is a bit different. You know, a lot of exports have the switch up here to flip between the bands. This one does it through the switch and the menu operation. So we flip it into the band mode here. You'll see the band is displayed on the meter readout over here. And we're in band 4, which is going to be our 11 meter mode in the expanded frequency operation of this radio. You do have to do a modification to get it out of the 10 meter mode. These are, again, export radios. They're sold as 10 meter radios. We have to modify them for the extended frequencies and to cover 11 meters. So as we flip the channel selector, you'll see it shows band 3, band 2, band 1, band.
Só lembrando os amigos que hoje estamos dando atenção a equipamento de 11 metros, ok? Faixa do cidadão, né, como bom PX, né, começamos lá com 15 anos nos 11 metros, então a gente gosta muito, tem muito carinho aí pelos 11 metros. E tem alguns dias que a gente tira aí só para mostrar equipamentos de 11 metros, tá bom? De todo o planeta, ok? Rádios americanos, europeus, japoneses, de todas as partes do planeta. Tranquilo? E hoje, vendo só filé mignon, né? Hoje só radiaço aí de 11 metros. Então, estou com o Striker. É um rádio para 10 metros, só que fica atento pelo seguinte. Tá? Muita gente compra esse rádio, ele tem muita potência, ok? Ele sai com 100 watts, tá? É um rádio que sai com 100 watts. Só que o pessoal compra esse rádio, né, leva no técnico e ele sai em 10 e 11 metros. Então essa é a jogada, né? O pessoal usa muito esse Striker para fazer 11 metros. Tranquilo? Então um radiaço aí bem legal, moderno, ok? Um dos rádios mais bambambãs aí do nosso radioamadorismo. Né? Mas muita gente usa e faz a conversão para 11 metros e fala em 11 metros com esse rádio, ok? Então tá aí, um modelito aí bem top de linha, bem legal. Para quem não conhece, tá na tela, ok? Dá uma olhada, que radiaço. Tá bom? Falando em coisas boas, né, vamos falar de doação de sangue, ok? Estamos com a campanha em andamento. Quem puder, colabore. Campanha de doação de sangue. Tem vários hemocentros, vários hospitais que você pode colaborar, tranquilo? Faça uma forcinha e ajude. São 6 horas em ponto. Oportunidade com um bom dia.
Mount technology parts. This is one of the case screws that holds the cover on the radio, just for size reference. This is the resistor we just removed. So you get an idea how fine tip your soldering iron needs to be and how small these parts are on the radio. So that is what we just removed from the radio that's going to open it up for extended frequency operation. I would not attempt to do this type of stuff unless you have the right equipment and you feel confident in your skills. Before we dive into the function menu, let's show you the programming switch over here for the Roger beep and the scan. If we flip this into the program mode, you'll see over here the first option that comes up with is the scan option. And we flip the channel selector's second option as a Roger beep option. So let's go to the scan option. And what this allows you to do is when you press the function button, it says scan add, scan delete. So if we're on a certain frequency, we can say delete this frequency from scanning or add this frequency. Basically, all of them are going to be initially add, so you just would move it to delete, and then the frequency you're on would no longer be scanned. So we'll move out of programming mode. If we hit the scan option, we turn up our squelch here, you'll see as it's scanning, it skips over 38, which we put as a delete option. So once again, this is the programming option to set it up so you can omit certain frequencies from being scanned as you go through. And if you watch here, 37, 39, it skips it. So we can hit scan again. It'll stop our scan. If we go back into program mode, oops, sorry, we got to go back on the frequency that we're on. And we say, oh, function, we want this one added. Oops, go back the other way. There. And now it will scan channel 38 again. So that's how that programming works for the scan function. Now for the Roger beep, if you go program, we're in the scan function here. We go up, flip it to Roger beep. If we press the function option, it takes us in and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Roger beep options to choose from. And we will go through and show those to you on the air so you can hear them. They do little da-da-da-da-da-das, you know, that kind of thing, bunch of different ones. That's how the Roger beep, you can adjust it between those 5 different Roger beeps. All right, let's jump into the function menu. If you hold in the function menu for the function button for 3 seconds, it jumps you into the function menu. First thing is you can adjust the fine clarifier range. You can have it adjust 0.5 kilohertz, 1.5 kilohertz, or up to 2.5 kilohertz on the range. The next option is receive, transmit, or receive and transmit. This is for your fine clarifier. You can have your fine clarifier adjust only the receive frequency, only the transmit frequency, or it can adjust your receive and transmit tied together, and it will display up here the mode that it's operating in, as you can see up here under clarifier. So like when you unlock a clarifier on a radio for the receive and transmit to move together, that's what that would be. Okay, course clarifier, you can adjust the range and increments. So you can have it do 100 hertz, 1 kilohertz, 5 kilohertz, or 10 kilohertz. So let me show you an option of what this would look like. In the 5 kilohertz option, when we adjust the course clarifier, you'll see it drops down. And it has a maximum range of 10 kilohertz up or down. And you'll see over here it will show how far off center that you're moving. So that's a neat feature. You can adjust that. Up to 10 kilohertz, once again, difference. Okay, so we hold in the function button, go back into the menu. Automatic squelch control. This is on AM. If you set this up on AM, automatic squelch control, on AM, it'll automatically squelch and will only unsquelch when a signal breaks it. So that's the automatic squelch control if you don't want to do the manual squelch. Next up is the beep. When you have it on, anytime you touch anything, it beeps for any of the switches or other things. So that's the beep on or off. Most people want that off. Timeout timer, transmitter timeout timer. This is for if you happen to be driving along and you sit on your microphone or something, you don't want to be transmitting for an hour or something and burn up the finals in your radio, or if you know your microphone gets wedged between the seats or something. You can turn it off, or you can set the number of seconds before it times out. You don't want to set it to 30 seconds if you're a long talker, because it'll automatically stop transmitting after 30 seconds. So pick a reasonable amount of time that you don't want your radio to be transmitting for. You can set it up to 600 seconds. Next up, this is a squelch menu option. So when you have the squelch on and you're in scan mode, this is 2 options for that. The first option is a SQ option. This means when you're scanning, the scan would stop when a valid signal is detected, and the scan would resume after the signal disappears for 5 seconds. In the TI mode, a scan would stop when a valid signal is detected. The the radio would resume scanning 5 seconds later, whether the signal disappears or not. So it just automatically will continue scanning after the signal is detected no matter what. The other one only starts scanning again once the signal disappears. Next up is something that goes along with that. This is the scan resume time. You can set this for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or 15 seconds. Once again, when I was saying if the radio resumes scanning 5 seconds after a signal disappears.
Tá bom? Isso é importante. Não tem nenhum tipo de discriminação. E também nos outros países, né? Tem as categorias, né? Aquela primeira categoria, né? O primeiro degrau, né? Dos radioamadores lá do Japão, da Europa, Estados Unidos, países da América Latina, etc. Mesma coisa. Eles também têm essa reciprocidade. Tá? Não tem privilégios. Qualquer radioamador, né? Também pede no seu país de origem quando vem para o Brasil, ok? Bom, o artigo 17 fala o seguinte: poderá ser utilizada apenas no território de outros membros da CITEL, signatários do convênio. A validade da licença será de até 1 ano, limitada pela data de vencimento da licença do radioamador. Então, aqui, ó, essa permissão é utilizada aqui nos Estados-membros desse acordo internacional, CITEL, ou seja, né, signatários do convênio. Essa validade é renovada, ok? Digamos que você tem aí 2 anos. Não, o prazo máximo é até 1 ano, tá aqui, ó. A validade da licença será de até 1 ano. Mas se você tiver 2 anos, como que faz? Vai ser 1 ano do mesmo jeito, ok? E se vencer, você volta, né, lá no departamento de comunicações ou de radioamadorismo, eles renovam por mais uns 6 meses, 1 ano, tá bom? Você permanece nos Estados Unidos, na Europa, tá? Não vai usando sem autorização, né? Venceu o prazo de 1 ano, tá? Fica esperto e volta lá, ok? Não deixa a coisa rolar solta, não, porque você conseguiu 1 ano, passou 5 dias, tá? Cada país vai ter uma sanção para quem não cumpre a norma diferente. Então, você pode pegar uma multa pesada por conta de 5 dias que venceu essa autorização lá no outro país e você não revalidou, ok? Então, vai vencer amanhã, já vai, né, um dia antes, já revalida por mais 1 ano e pronto. Ou 6 meses, né? Cada país...
Bom, só uma indicação para os amigos. Hoje tudo isso você faz pela internet, ok? É tudo online. Né? Quando eu falo volta, né, e refaz, é revalidar via internet, online. Tá? Não vai ser dos Estados Unidos, do Japão, voltar para o Brasil, né? Com certeza. Então, tudo isso é feito online, tranquilo? Bom, para maiores detalhes, dá uma lida nos artigos 15 a 19, ok? Artigos 15 a 19, resolução 449/2006. É o capítulo da permissão internacional. Muitos radioamadores não sabem que tem esse direito, ok? Então, esses direitos são para todos nós radioamadores. Tá? Não importa a classe, hein? Se você é classe A, B ou C, ok? Alfa, Bravo ou Charlie. Tranquilo? Todo radioamador tem direito. Em qualquer lugar do Brasil, ok? Qualquer estado do Brasil, né, tem esse mesmo direito, tranquilo? E você pede pela internet, online, né, provavelmente, depois que você pagar uma taxa, valor pequeno é de 20 e poucos reais, 30, a Anatel te libera e você imprime e vai embora, ok? Tá? Outra dica, não deixa isso para a última hora, ó, né? Quem for viajar aí, Estados Unidos, Europa, Japão, tá? 1 mês antes, pelo menos, né? Pelo menos 1 mês antes já entra com esse requerimento na Anatel, ok? E assim que sair o documento, você imprime, guarda e leva nessa viagem com você, tranquilo? Bom, vamos em frente. Oportunidade aos amigos com um bom dia.
Goes on. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we'll get you a little closer here so you can hear the echo. So we'll put the volume over here. All right. And actually, I'll turn that back up. So 9 o'clock position, 1, 2, 3. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1, 2, 3. 12 o'clock position, 1, 2, 3. And once again, when you turn down the volume, it gives a little bit different echo sound. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3. That's the 3 o'clock position on the delay, 3 o'clock on the volume. And we've got maximum echo, and this is with maximum volume. 1, 2, 3. So I figured I'd show that. Everyone always asks me, why didn't you show the echo in your video? So there's the echo, guys. Obviously there's settings variable anywhere in between. And once again, we were able to monitor that using the talkback function there. So let me show you the back of the radio and we'll wrap this up. All right, big heat sink on this sucker. Good size, gets a little warmed in operation with the radio peaked a bit. And, a little bit hot to the touch, but nothing awful. So big heat sink, good to heat dissipation. Down here, standard 3-pin jack. Use a standard power cord, a little bit thicker, than a regular one. You have to make sure that you use the power cord. I wouldn't swap it out with anything smaller because the amperage might blow your fuses. So make sure you use the one that comes with the radio. Antenna connector, CW key, external speaker option here, and your data USB port connection. So you can connect your USB cable that'll go to your computer, and that's what you'll hook up when you do your software. And I will show the stock microphone real quick. This is the stock microphone that came with it. I suspect it was supposed to say Stryker or something here. Mine did not say anything, or the emblem did not glue and fell off or something, but that's what my stock microphone looks like. And just a very basic, light, cheap microphone, but it matches up really well with the radio. I tried out a Turner desk mic, SRA 158 stock mic, a power mic, and a couple other mics, and this mic, everybody said, sounded the best. So whoever did the testing on it figured out that this El Cheapo lightweight microphone, stock microphone, works well with the Stryker radio. Good loud audio, sounded the cleanest and clearest with the stock microphone in my tests. So you may run into something different, of course, on your own, but just showing you what it came with. All right, so we'll wrap up the overview. Once again, this is the Stryker SR955HP, brand new single sideband radio from Stryker. I apologize for the long review. I wanted to just bust it all out in one video rather than doing multiple videos. So if you sat through all of this and made it to the end, congratulations, there you go. The radio itself, been testing it out so far. I'm not doing a review right now. This is just an overview, but I can say on single sideband, been very stable so far. So they definitely have met that qualification that they were trying to do. And audio reports have been excellent. Very good, clear, clean, punchy audio on single sideband. So performance-wise, I'm pretty happy with what I've seen so far. Output's been very good. With the tune, you're looking upwards 70, 80 watts. I've heard some higher numbers than that, but I think 70 to 80 is probably what you be experiencing, and without pushing it too hard. The overall radio has been operational fine. I haven't found any bugs or anything, but I will be doing my full written review, discussing things I like and dislike about the radio, and getting into it more and showing all the pictures and everything. So the written review will be up on the website, cbradiomagazine.com, and we will be posting a video showing the software as well and some on-air audio checks we've done as well, just to let people know what it sounds like on the air. Once again, Stryker SR955HP. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll try and get that written review tied up and up on the website, cbradiomagazine.com.
Até 50% de desconto.
Radio 161, great to make the hookup there, Matt. That's the about. Yeah, Matt, J. Juliet Alpha Yankee was my name for your further.
Hi, this is CBRadioMagazine.com, and today we have a special treat for you. This is the CRE8900 10-meter mobile transceiver. This is an export-type radio, AM/FM, single sideband, CW, PA. This radio is currently being distributed in Europe by a company called Univercom out of France. This radio is very unique. It uses some interesting software options. You can program it from a computer, has some menu options, lots of different functions, but most of all, it's a very compact radio. And I'm going to go over the size and discuss that quite a bit in this video. But I think a lot of guys are going to be interested in this for single sideband use especially. And let's get this going. We'll show you the software. We'll pop the box and then get into the radio. The new CRE8900 comes with a programming cable and software. Now, for those of you familiar with the previous larger models, the AlphaMax AM1000 and the Anytone 5555 or the CRT version, those radios all also use software. The unique thing about this radio is it does use the USB connector port right out of the back. So it comes with the USB cable, but it does have a connector that plugs right into the back of the radio, and we'll discuss that. Software comes with the disc, so you can program the radio via your computer. And we're actually going to do a separate video on that because there's a lot of information there, but a lot of tweaks you can do to the radio via the software. Very cool stuff.
O país vai ter a sua regra, a sua legislação, ok? Não adianta falar que você vai renovar por mais um ano, que vai de país para país, até de estado para estado, né? Exemplo, Estados Unidos, onde cada estado tem essa autonomia a nível de legislação, né? Eles podem ter as suas normas, suas regras, mesmo tendo uma norma maior, né, que impera, mas alguns detalhes, né, cada estado tem essa liberdade de gerenciar os seus prazos, ok? Bom, o artigo 18 fala o seguinte: as condições de uso da IARP, Índia Alfa Romeo Papa, estão estabelecidas no Convênio Internacional sobre Permissão Internacional de Radioamador. Tá, essa norma, você não precisa comprar nem ler, né? Isso tudo é mais para a Anatel, né? Você tendo essa autorização, acabou, né? Você não precisa saber de todos os detalhes e artigos, né, dessa convenção internacional, né? Não precisa ler a norma, né? Você conseguindo a autorização na Anatel é o suficiente, ok? Não se preocupe aqui com a norma, os artigos ou os detalhes, né? Desses artigos, porque não há necessidade, tá bom? E o artigo 19 fala o seguinte: na expedição da IARP incidirá preço de serviço administrativo. Olha lá, o que eu falei, né? Você vai entrar com o requerimento, né? A Anatel vai gerar um boleto, você paga no banco, ok? Pagou o boleto, a Anatel já imprime, já prepara essa documentação para você, ok? Bem fácil, bem tranquilo, e todos os radioamadores têm direito. Você vê que não tem privilégio, né? Classe A, classe B, classe C. Qualquer classe aqui de radioamadores no Brasil tem esse direito, ok? Importante, então. Você vai para o Chile, até aqui mesmo, né? Na América Latina, vai aqui para o Paraguai. Vai fazer que nem o Ronaldinho, né? Viu a história do Ronaldinho? Então, o Ronaldinho dançou. Bom, ele tinha falsificado o documento, né? Se ele tivesse só entregue o RG, qualquer documento serviria. O problema é que ele praticou um crime, né? Entrou lá no outro país com um documento falso. O cara tem grana e pega uns assessores, pede chinelo, né, Horácio? Aí, que aprontaram pro Ronaldinho, né? Esse entrou de gaiato no navio, né? Que dureza. Joga bem, né? Pior que joga um bolão o nosso amigo Ronaldinho, mas se deu mal aí com a documentação, né? Infelizmente. Bom, então a história é essa, ó, não vai fazer que nem o Ronaldinho, né? Você que é esperto, né? O Ronaldinho bobeou, né? Tomou um olé lá do assessor dele, mas não faça como o Ronaldinho, né? Seja esperto, passa na Anatel, pega o seu documento e vai para os Estados Unidos, para a Europa, Japão, Austrália, ou países da América Latina, né? Enfim, ou da África, não importa, né? Onde você for, passa antes e leva. Ah, mas eu acho que não vou falar. Você acha que não vai falar, mas na hora que você vê lá um rádio, uma fonte, você compra, né? Você compra uma antena, um rádio, uma fonte. Nem que seja um radinho de V e UHF, mas vai dar aquela coceirinha de você conversar, né? E aí vai ficar na clandestinidade, então não marca bobeira, né? Mesmo que você não fale, passa na Anatel e pega esse documento, ok? É uma mixaria, né? 30 e poucos reais. É melhor prevenir do que remediar, ok? De repente você compra até um HT, né? Até HT, vou falar, vou ficar ouvindo só. Aí passa lá um policial, e esse rádio aí? Tô ouvindo, mas ele transmite, então vamos para a delegacia. É uma multinha lá de $5.000, lá. Economizando 30, né, no documento aqui no Brasil, vai pagar uma multinha de $1.000 por lá.
Agora são 6h23. Quem perdeu a aula de CW, hoje aula 3, ok? E quem quiser começar o curso, dá tempo ainda, tá bom? Faz a primeira, a segunda aula lá no nosso canal, na playlist, tá? E continua o curso com a gente. Serão 4 meses de aulas, janeiro, fevereiro, março e abril. E você faz com a gente via radiofrequência, via internet, na live, ou via playlist. Né? Para quem não consegue os horários, que a gente passa o curso, faz via playlist. Tá? Em qualquer lugar do planeta você acompanha, via live ou via playlist, e também tira dúvidas com a gente, ok? Sem problemas. E vamos em frente. Quem curte 11 metros, tá vendo hoje só filé mignon, hein? Só radiaço. O top dos tops dos rádios de 11 metros. E vamos em frente. Oportunidade com um bom dia.
Button you'll see here on the left-hand side helps you access the lower features for each of the buttons. All these buttons have dual options, so each button can control 2 different features for the radio. The function also takes you into a menu, which has a lot of other options inside the radio as well. So let's start off, we'll go through these. The first one up is your Roger beep. Roger beep's on off. Roger beep is remembered by the frequency that you're on. So if you don't want to use a Roger beep on one frequency, so say on channel 37, you don't want to use a Roger beep, but on channel 38 you do, the radio remembers where you've enabled the Roger beep. Next feature over is our noise blank ANL. That's how you turn that on and off. Next up is a dual watch feature. Dual watch allows you to scan between 2 frequencies, so you can set it up on 38. We can press the dual watch button. We can go to channel 37. We press it again, and now the radio will do a dual watch scanning between the 2 frequencies. Down here is a scan option. This radio can be set up to scan through the frequencies. It's going to stay within the bank or channel band that you've set it up for, and it'll scan in there all the way through. You can also choose certain frequencies to be omitted from the scanning, and that's the secondary function here, which we'll show you. 10 kilohertz is next. See, it jumped us up. The next button is our color changing options. Radio does have different colors for the display, and you can also set it up on one of the options where it'll rotate through the colors. Next up is emergency channel 9, takes you to the channel 9 frequency, and that's the first upper level options for the buttons. Let's go to the secondary functions. Okay, secondary functions. First one up here is BP. When you have this BP option in, every time you do anything on the radio, it's going to beep to let you know that you did it. Now, it can be quite annoying if you're sitting here on a bass type atmosphere, but if you're in a mobile or something and you're worried about bumping your radio and going off frequency or turning on or off something by accident, it's actually a nice feature. It'll let you know if you bumped anything or pressed a button. Next over here, underneath the noise blank ANL is the lock function. When that's enabled, only your band selector, mode control, and push to talk will work. If you try and do anything else, you get a lock display saying, hey, the radio's locked right now. So that's also a nice feature if you're in the mobile and you're worried about bumping something. Over here is your LCD off. You can actually turn off the LCD display. So if you don't need to display any of the functions or features on there and you just want to see your channel, you can set it up like that. Down here is a scan SC list option. So when we showed you before, we turned on the scan, it was scanning all the way through the frequency. Let's say we want to omit channel 39 and channel 40 from our scanning. We press function, the SC button, you'll see a little dot appear here, decimal. We'll do the same thing for channel 40. And now we can hit the scan button, and you'll see it'll scan all the way through. When it gets to channel 39 and 40, it'll actually omit them from our scanning. It'll jump from 38 back down to 1. So that's how that works. Next up, scan off. Okay, next up is our high cut feature. High cut cuts out a lot of that high-end hiss noise that you get sometimes. If you like to hear a little bit more bassy sound coming out of your radio, that's nice for that. And it shows up enabled over here. There's a timeout feature, and we press that on, it says timeout off, timeout on. This is for if you accidentally key your microphone, you can set the radio up to say, hey, after 2 minutes, automatically stop transmitting and reset. And so the idea is that, like, if you sat down on your microphone in your vehicle and you were sitting there for a 3-hour drive, a long road, you don't want to be keying your finals for 3 hours and not know it if you're not paying attention. This way, if you sit down on your microphone, you're keying, after 2 minutes, it'll shut it off and save your transmitter. Last option here is you can turn your S meter off or on. One of the sub functions I'll show you, if you hold in the color timeout button, you'll see an SWR option came up over here. It'll actually show your SWR on the scale while that's enabled. And you can turn that back off. You just hold in that color timeout button for a couple seconds. So that's the cool stuff. Shows you all the functions on the radio and the buttons. That's your display. Now let's jump into the menu. We'll show you the cool stuff within the menu. All right, let's jump into our menu functions. This is actually a really neat part of this radio. You hold down the function key for a couple seconds and it jumps you in. Whole bunch of options in here we'll go through. First up, ICG. This is your microphone gain. There isn't a microphone gain control knob on the radio on the front. It's actually in a menu. You can adjust it any level between 1 and 63. It's variable. You can adjust it using the microphone as well. From the factory, the default is about 31 on the scale. If you go all the way up to 63, it's quite loud. With the stock microphone, I got very good results and feedback doing some DX. Locally, people said it was a little bit better around the 31 setting in the default. The microphone gain, once again, is variable control, so anywhere between that 1 and 63, or you can actually turn it off. Next up, this is your talkback, and you can adjust your talkback scale, variable talkback, and it's talkback works in all modes. The talkback, if you set it to 10, 1, 2, 3, check, check, audio, quite loud. Even down around 5 or 6 on the setting, the talkback worked fine. You shouldn't have a need to turn it up too loud. But variable talkback, very neat for that. The next option up is your side tone volume for your CW key. You can adjust this anywhere between 1 and 63 as well. This radio does have a CW key where you can plug in, and that's adjust that side tone volume.
Mais uma informação aí para os amigos. Teremos em breve mais um ponto de encontro, ok? Além de Ermelino Matarazzo, além do Pacaembu, está surgindo Santo Amaro, ok? Zona Sul de São Paulo, logo, logo, eu passo o endereço para os amigos. Tá? Ponto de referência, horário, né? Esquema, tá bom? Vai ter a feirinha de eletroca, vai ter comes e bebes, vai ser o dia inteiro de atividades, tá bom? Mas, né, estamos aguardando o amigo dar o ok. Ele está conversando lá na prefeitura, né, para ver se pega essa área, ok? Tem a concessão, né, para usar os domingos para nós, radioamadores, tá bom? Com certeza, de graça, né? Ninguém vai pagar aluguel, né, por uma área pública. Então, como é uma concessão, tem todo um formalismo, ok? Com a prefeitura ali local, né, de Santo Amaro, né, para um bom uso que é radioamadorismo, ok? Deve ter critérios ali de imposição, né, do pode, o que não pode, enfim. Com certeza não vai ter bebida alcoólica, né, e só equipamentos de rádio, tá bom? Só radioamadorismo, ok? Então, estamos aguardando essa confirmação do amigo, e assim que ele confirmar, eu passo o endereço. Ó, vai ser em tal lugar, tal rua, tal número, do lado lá de um mercado, de uma padaria, enfim. Tá? De tal a tal horário, né? E tudo isso assim que ele confirmar com a gente, ok? mas parece que vai ser um negócio bem legal, bem interessante. Então, mais uma opção para nós radioamadores, o que é muito bom, né? Quanto mais pontos de encontros de radioamadores, melhor, né? Quanto mais rodadas, quanto mais repetidores, enfim, né? Quanto mais gente no radioamadorismo, isso cresce e atrai mais amigos aí para o hobby. Então, sempre é bem-vindo. Bom, tá, bom dia aqui para o Cabral. Grande abraço, hein, Cabral. Tudo de bom. Ao Vanderlei, também grande abraço, tudo de bom. E para o nosso amigo Manuel, sempre aí com a gente. Y2 Juliette, Mike Papa. A todos um grande abraço, um ótimo dia. E hoje, dia dos 11 metros. Na rodada alto-falante, né? Não tem um calendário, né, oficial, hoje é dia do PX dos 11 metros, não, mas no radioamadorismo, aqui para nós hoje, só rádio de 11 metros. Quem acompanha a rodada via live, via YouTube, está vendo aí um desfile de rádios top, ok? Só radiaço de 11 metros, tá bom? Hoje é o dia dos 11 metros, viu, Manuel? Você foi PX ou não foi, hein? Foi, né? Eu também comecei nos 11 metros. Então hoje só filé mignon, hein? Só radinho aí top, tá bom? E vamos em frente. Oportunidade aos amigos com um bom dia.
Bom dia, Cosel, PY2, Mike, Romeo Delta, aqui pelo Capão Redondo.
Ok. PY2, Mike, Romeo Delta. Nosso grande amigo Cordel. Nossa, quanto tempo, hein, Cordel? Como foi de Natal, de Ano Novo, família, tudo em paz, tranquilo? Aqui, tudo em paz, tranquilo, tá bom? Sem novidades no front. PY2, Mike, Romeo Delta, Cordel, adiante.
Bom dia, meu querido, satisfação refalar contigo aí. Eu tava com um problema na antena aqui, tinha cortado o cabo aqui, eu consegui resolver o problema. Tô de volta aí, não parei, tô no batente direto, no basquete direto. Podem desejar um forte e aquele ótimo dia para nós.
Positivo. Então tá aí, obrigado, tá bom, Cordel? Agora que você arruma a antena, aparece, hein? Tá bom? Agora com a antena em ordem e chegando bem pra gente, hein? Você tá móvel, tá base, só me confirma, Cordel. Mas final de escala, ok? Final de escala, áudio 5. Tá bom, adiante.
Positivo, tô barra móvel, aqui tem do Capão Redondo aqui, chegando no basquete, local que só no sinal. Mas eu tô móvel, vê se é sério por aí.
Positivo, não, tá excelente. Sinal que antena, o rádio aí estão nota 10, ok? Então fica à vontade, tá chegando no batente. Agora é tomar cafezinho e trabalhar, né, Cordel? Aparece aí, tá bom? Tem a rodada alto-falante na parte da manhã, ok? Tem a tarde na segunda edição, que vai até a noite, ok? Te aguardo aí. Tá bom, Cordel? A gente põe as fofocas em dia, hein? Grande abraço e bom batente.
With the Roger beep.
Tive um ótimo dia no 903. Aqui meu sinal já sobe, não sei porquê. Eu não consigo mais copiar nem falar. Vê se é sério por aí. Ótimo dia, no sinal.
Ok. Abraço, tudo de bom. Mais alguém na frequência?
Okay, next up, this is our CW side tone frequency. Oops, jumped out of there. That's to select your CW side tone frequency anywhere between 300 hertz and 3 kilohertz. And so you can change the tone of your side tone frequency for CW if you guys are going to be using that. And the last one is your transmitting single tone frequency. And this is, you can set this up to do between 300 hertz and 3 kilohertz. And change it in 10 kilohertz steps. So that's your single tone for hitting a repeater. There we go. So those are our menu functions. Lots of cool stuff in there. I know a lot of guys are going to be interested in the Roger beep stuff, the talkback, the variable microphone gain. Very cool. Lots of stuff to mess with, especially the display stuff with the SWR and the voltage. Very, very cool. All right, here's the inside of the radio. Dual finals in the back, IRF 520 transistors. And you can see it has shielding, a lot like the 2950DX. Surface mount technology. Not a whole lot of wires or anything running around on this.
Então, aqui para o Manuel. Você ainda está nos 11 metros, né, Manuel? Então, maravilha. PX2, Eco 8265. Oitavo segundo, sexto 5. Legal. Então, você é o radioamador completo, né? Radioamador e PX. Bacana. Tem ainda um Cobra 148 GTL e um RP80, né? Romeo Papa, oitavo negativo. Maravilha. Eu acabei desfazendo da estação, hein? Eu tinha até quando eu casei, ok? Aí depois do casório, fui para apartamento, né? E eu tinha que escolher uma antena, né? Dá para pôr as duas. Prédio, né? Prédio já viu. Eu falei, bom, vou pôr antena de 2 metros. Eu acabei deixando meio de lado aí os 11 metros, mas faz parte das origens, né, Manuel? E as nossas origens a gente não pode esquecer, né? Então, por isso que hoje é o dia aqui dos 11 metros. Só radiaço, hein? Que acompanha a rodada alto-falante na internet, no YouTube. Hoje é o desfile de super rádios de 11 metros. Tá bom? Só filé mignon, né, ô Manuel? Só radião, hein? Tá bom? E vamos lá. Oportunidade com um bom dia.
It's peaking after long conversations with the MOSFET transistors as they heat up. You will see a little bit of drop off.
O colega está sem áudio. Então, alguém está tentando falar comigo, mas sem áudio, tá bom, colega? Áudio aí bem baixinho, não dá para entender o que você fala, tá bom? Já há vários dias, né? Acho que até vários meses, né? Que eu percebo e não adianta, né? Não chega o áudio, tá bom? Mas bom dia e grande abraço.
And we realized it was a simple fix with the mic socket. I went in and did a very simple fix actually on the microphone connector, solved the hum issue. It's something that the factory's taken care of for later models. On the faceplate, you'll notice it's coming loose just a little bit here, not just enough stickiness glue on the faceplate piece there. And I left the radio out here in the shop overnight, in 30-degree temperatures, so that came loose just a little bit. Those are my only little nitpicky complaints. The radio during operation will get quite warm because it is very compact. It has quite a large heat sink. It does very well for dissipating the heat. It does actually have a little yellow sticker on top that says, caution, this surface may be hot. And you will see a lot of heat along the side of the radio. And over here, you'll have some transistors mounted along the side, and they'll heat up. And so you see some heat dissipation over here and a little bit coming out of the top. Didn't affect anything like the frequency stability. Radio was still stayed on frequency for very, very long conversations. No problems whatsoever with any type of frequency drift. The receive on the radio is quite good. It does have a little bit of that microprocessor hiss kind of thing you see with the 2950DX, is just a little bit of white noise.
Deixa eu pedir para o amigo, por gentileza, deixar a frequência livre, ok? Tem uma rodada em andamento, tá bom, colega? Por gentileza, se você não quiser participar da rodada, respeita a rodada, ok? A rodada alto-falante está indo para 23 anos, na mesma frequência, tá bom? Estamos há muitos e muitos anos, então, por gentileza, né? Escolhe uma outra frequência, mas não atrapalhe a rodada alto-falante, ok? Fica a nossa dica para fazer uma QSY, por gentileza, tá bom, colega? Quer falar com a gente, né? Joga mais áudio, mais potência, ou aumenta a antena, tá? Eu percebo você falando, né? Mas não fala, não chega aqui, né? Não consegue falar com a gente. Então faz uma QSY, muda de frequência, tá? Mas não fica aqui todo dia, né, no mesmo horário da rodada falando em cima, ok? Até porque eu sei onde você está e quem você é, tá bom? Então, por gentileza, né? Colabore com a gente para não termos problemas, ok? Grande abraço e tudo de bom.
Got some information about this radio, and once again on the website we'll do a full write-up. We'll include all the different bits of information, the manual, and everything else you need to know. We'll also include the information on how to convert the radio, and we're also going to do a software video showing how the software programming works. So sorry for the long video again, but lots to cover with this type of radio.
That's all, yes.
it's up there for sure. Thought I really choice there against the lead here. I don't know where you're at here. I just heard you wanted to radio check, so I thought I'd give you some radio up and see how that old radio sound back this way, Roger. The gentleman with the new radio, he's sounding good in West Virginia, 257, told you that. Just to lead you this afternoon, just wanted to let you know that old new radio is sounding good. Cool. I'm back here in West Virginia, and I want to let you know the audio is really good back here. Our name is Ray. Right, told you that. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's definitely running back this way. Yeah, good audio, no complaints here, so it sounds like you guys got a winner out here. You like the audio? Sounds very professional. We were wondering what type of radio that is, Roger. You're right. What's that? Copy that one. CRD8900, I believe. Yeah, what is that? A 10-12 meter radio, or what kind of radio is it? That's not a bad job, operator. 22, 492. Nice clean audio on it. That was real good. I like one of them, Benny. Yeah, his last transmission, he faded out there a little bit. I wanted to ask him if he had a stock mic on there or some type of power mic. That audio sounds really good for stock mic. I appreciate you. I'll put the cover back on this time. Sounded real fine, real nice, clear audio on there, just like a studio quality. Go ahead. Okay, I definitely don't have a problem there as far as on the clarity or on the amount of audio there. I'd say you're definitely right where you need to be there. You're not overdriven by any stretch, and you're not underpowered by any means as well. So